Hello, folks. Performance in Bullet Brawl tournament that I played yesterday. I usually play this tournament when I have time. I actually like this format of the tournament. It's 1-0. You don't have to play every round. It's just you play for 2 hours, and whoever with the most scores win the tournament, which obviously none of us except like the top player in the world. You do play, the good thing about this tournament, you could play with somebody like Nakamura, you could play even Magnus. This is really the only opportunity you could play strong players. You do have to be a title player, of course. It's a privilege to get to play any of these players. I mean, chess.com made this possibility, like you, even for somebody like a national master like myself, self-taught national master, to end up playing somebody like Nakamura. And it's a privilege to me because there are people who would never play Nakamura, like never get to play this, not in a friendly game or never. So whenever you get to play him, it's really exceptional. Now, as soon as Nakamura game pops in, I had like a background noise, my family, and I told my family, quiet down, folks. I'm playing Nakamura. And obviously, they were silent. They were saying, okay, concentrate. We're going to be quiet. This is coming from my mom that happens to be a cancer, that she's suffering from cancer. She's suffering from multiple myeloma. And obviously, she told me, good luck and try. She doesn't want to pressure me, but obviously, she wanted me to try in the game. And I figured that I could try. There's nothing to really... nothing to lose. I just needed to try. I actually played Nakamura 9 times, and obviously he won the 9 games. This is game 10, so I figured that maybe it's my turn to try to compete with him. I was looking for concentration. Like usually when you play bullet chess, and obviously somebody like Nakamura, you do have to have concentration. So I know the skill differences between me and him. And it's not just me, it's between a lot of people, like the entire world, basically. He does have the skill, the experience, the speed to keep up and win tournaments. Is the reason why he continued playing and winning almost every week, whether Title Tuesday or Saturday tournament. So obviously, I was black. I played a lot of modern against him in the 9 games, so I figured that maybe we should try something else. And so he played e4, and I played c6, a caro. So he played knight e3, and I played d5, knight f3, takes, knight f6, knight g3, e6, bishop c4. Nothing is too crazy now, c5. d4, this is equal, bishop d7, queen e2, knight c6. In my own view, during the game, I figured that my goal here is to play maybe like a safe position, equal as much as possible, and also fast. Because I know Nakamura, even if you get an equal position, he still depends on his speed. He could still flag you, which is actually makes things a lot difficult. He's very speedy though, and it's not just the speed. He's speed and the experience that he has. The quality of the moves are really different, and actually is top notch. So I had to. In my goal in the opening is to basically keep up speed wise. So you could see the difference is like we are almost, equal in terms of like the speed wise for now, right? Castles, and then knight bishop d6. Now this is where Nakamura does his Nakamura stuff. Obviously here I figured that he's making some improvements. I figured that I could just simply castle. He's gonna take on d6, which I figured that he would anyway. The reason this actually like some kind of improvement is because basically he may claim that he has a 2 bishop pair. My concern was actually rook d1 as well, like how he could gain a tempo attacking my queen, which he did. But I figured that this is still possibly equal. Queen c7. Should I play properly, this should still be equal. So bishop b3 happened, and obviously I figured that rook d1 is a little bit of a trouble. We may just trade, the rooks, right? So he played bishop g5. Then I trade the rook here, and then I played rook d8. So now I'm telling him, how about we trade everything? So if he trades on d8, queen takes, he's probably heading toward the draw. It's probably easier to play that position as well, even though he may have the 2 bishops. but nothing else is really going on. It's pretty much equal. I actually liked his next move, which makes a lot of sense. So rook e1 makes sense. He's avoiding the trade, and he may be somehow putting some pressure on e6. I don't think it's playable per se, but it's still possible in some lines. But obviously here I went for a more direct approach. Like I wanted to play here because he was threatening bishop takes f6. I don't think he would need to give this to Nakamura. Like bishop takes f6 like this, open up for the king. This potentially could give him something to go for. So I figured that if bishop takes f6, his queen takes f6, and then you could claim that this is possibly equal. So he played queen e3, and this is actually interesting. During the game, this is where I figured that he's attacking on e7, and I actually see it. See the attack on the e7. So I played here. I figured that he would possibly trade, and then queen takes. I don't think he's likely to take here because queen takes b2. This is possibly a draw, as I explained. Bishop takes here. This is also one move that you could do this in bullet chess. Usually when you attack, it gives you an upper hand for if your attack is justified here enough. It's not justified here. That bishop takes h6 is not really going to do anything. It's easy to play for black. He doesn't have pieces, a lot of pieces, just a queen on h6. So I figured that maybe he has two moves, like here, and if he plays here, there's knight d5 perhaps. And this is my opportunity to exchange one of the bishops. And it's still probably not easy. I wasn't sure if he's gonna play bishop f4. My intention was here, and I was looking ahead what could happen ahead. So here he actually went back, went to h4. And here, this is where I maybe went wrong. I believe I played bishop d5. So I was setting up something here, but maybe this is wrong. I mean, during the game, I felt like c4 could have been a move. And then is a7 a loss of a pawn or no? I wasn't even sure. As soon as I played it, I was like, is e7 could be possible? Because maybe in a game like this, what could happen is, white could take a pawn and claim he's better. Especially with Nakamura, right? So here, what happened is he took the pawn, and I think here was a mistake, because now I knew taking the pawn is a mistake. Maybe it's like in between move that I made a mistake here. I actually took here. Take this one back. I did take here, and after take here is queen here. I figured that maybe it's a move order thing that maybe I had to do here first. I was not sure. I figured that maybe this was best. But I was preparing the next move anyway. So whether he do this, I was instantly making move. So the next move is very active, and I think Nakamura may have missed this move. So apparently here, black is active with the pieces, and I don't think taking a7 was the best per se. So the only move here that Nakamura had to do, because at this move, really it's a strong move, because usually this move is what we call attacking both pieces at the same time. It does multitasking. It's also defending b7, but it's not necessarily defending b7. It's like I'm actually attacking this checkmate, and I was hoping that he doesn't see it. In my own mind, maybe he would be preoccupied defending on h4, but this is not something that would happen at the top level. So the good news about this move is actually you're attacking h4 and you're attacking the rook. How you defend this? You don't have c3, right? c3 that walks into queen takes h4. The only move that he had to do is f4. And even then, black is still active, even though he still lost the a7 pawn. Black is still active in this game. It's potentially that I may just have some play on d2, or and possibly it's getting a little bit annoying. But f4 is definitely the move, because this actually defend the piece, meaning I don't have queen takes h4, and obviously I don't have queen takes e1 because of the bishop defending it. So to my surprise, though, I was surprised this happened. Rook f1 happened. And I almost told my family, during the game, I'm up a piece against Nakamura. And they yelling back at me, and they were like, concentrate. And obviously here tensions are high. But I felt like this game is not easy because of the next move, right? The next move actually, it's queen takes b7. Now I figured that the 3 pass pawn against a knight, and that's going to be a little bit of a nightmare, right? According to the ancient, this is actually losing. It is possibly understandable that you need to be active. So usually when you're up a piece, you do have 2 options, whether you trade or whether you eliminate your opponent's counterplay. And also you could, if you stay active, right? I think there's maybe rook d2 possible, that you attack c2, keeping f2, and then maybe you could play knight g4. I mean, this may look like a strong move already, right? I mean, anybody could see it. To my knowledge, the next move is very strange by me. I mean, this may be something to do with that I was shocked by taking the bishop, and the next move is very strange by me. Knight g4, like, come on, like, this is not going to work. The reason this move is not the greatest is because, you know, I did not get my chance to play rook d2. And it's just threatening h2. Is that he's not going to miss it. The problem I'm having with this knight g4 move, and I was like almost laughing during the game, because I was like h3, and then the knight, we may have to go back. You don't want to lose a tempo here. Losing a tempo here is like absolutely critical. And I was like, this doesn't do anything for me. So which he did play h3, and it's shocking for me that, you know, I had to go back. This is a loss of a tempo, doesn't make sense. It's probably because couldn't believe that I could win a piece, and, you know, I'm not sure what's going on at this point. So here, obviously, he's attacking here. He's also lining up toward, defending on the dark squares. So here, maybe I had rook d2 again. So I played the queen. Now the issue is getting really complicated. I traded pieces, traded queen, excuse me, and then obviously it's not easy here. You're dealing with 2 pass pawns, even this b2, if you consider that a double pawn. It's not easy. It's getting difficult. Considering the time situation as well, it's getting complicated. It's probably easier to play for white because the moves are easy to make. I guess black still have something, of course, here, but this is pass pawn, and this is Nakamura. It's very difficult. Rook e1, knight d7, king f1, king d6. I'm trying to get activated with the king. Apparently here I had king b4, and I'm not sure why I didn't make this move. I mean, it makes sense. You want to play knight c5, you want to grab b3. I mean, something strange happened here. I went to b6, and I'm not even sure why I did that. You're supposed to, like, go to b4, an attack on b3, weakening up the pass pawn. That was my chance maybe to win the game, but I missed it. And then here, knight c5 and f3, and then I went b. Now it's like I'm playing passively, which doesn't make sense. c5 takes, and then I had to sack back the piece. Here I was like, I mean, technically, I was like, okay, we returned that back the piece. Now what? Now it's a draw, or is it white is getting better? Here it's a draw, and it's possibly very easy to draw. The issue here is the time. Even with the time, I think it's a draw. Perhaps here it's easy to draw this. The reason I'm saying it's easy, because once white is trying to get something going, like he's going for rook d7, king c7, you're stopping the rook each time from coming in, right? He's trying, and I don't, obviously he has to try. g4, check. Now the key is keep checking so the king doesn't, and I'm not sure where the king is going, so you're stopping him from coming in. So check back again. He's trying to get out of the way, and then you always go back, and you could easily kind of force a draw that way. Now that check is important. Here I actually figured that maybe I could have played king b7. I'm not sure which way the best, but here apparently it's still a draw because he's still attacking here. I figured that rook c5, maybe it's a move, but he played the king, which I understand why the king, he's trying to get king b6, right? Maybe king b6 is the only way to try to play for a win, but obviously my next move is very interesting, stopping the king from coming in. So I'm keeping up with him. Like here, I'm stopping the ideas. This is a way to play strong players, very strong players, is to avoid any kind of any kind of chance of trying to win the game, right? Keeping up in a solid way. So this is actually the solid way of doing it. Now, this rook h2 is a mysterious rook move, and I'm not even sure even why I did this move. Here, you're not necessarily going for pawns. You may just keep... My own opinion is keeping the rook in this file, and it's not easy. He cannot play here, he's a stake. Once he goes here, it's check back again. He cannot really make any kind of improvements. This one, it's like a really strange... Maybe I'm going for more play. But I actually felt like it's still draw, but strategically, it makes sense to stay with the plan that I had. So he went back here, I went back there, he goes here, go back here, again. And then eventually I went back, so it kind of explains what's rook h2 is all about. He went back here, and I played back here. Again, I'm still like on it. Here, and now this is actually kind of improvement. And it's, look at this, like how he confused me with the move order. So now it's not the same, right? So now if you check him, he may go king d6. And it's not easy to handle this position. Maybe I could have went for it, but obviously was not sure during the game. So here, apparently it's a draw. Even here, b6, even this. h5 is really the terrible move here. f5 is probably a draw. So you want to trade that way. If you trade this way, this is apparently a good way to defend. It's still draw. Black is not getting anything here, or not even white. This other move is really questionable. And obviously here, white is winning, apparently, after rook e7. Here he takes... So now this is a common theme in this ending where the rook is cutting off the king in not a nice way. The reason it's winning here for white is what's happening next, the next move. After I take... takes, and then this next move is really telling. King c6. So it doesn't, you cannot really take on g4. The reason being is rook f8 mate. So the pawn at b6, king c6, the rook is cutting off. This is a common idea of where you mating, possible mating ideas happen, and that's how you win. So here I don't think there's anything. I knew this is lost. I figured I could play like a couple moves in, hoping for something, but obviously it's not easy. So he took on g7, which is okay, of course. So check. So obviously he can't take because this is simply winning. He just go here and then promote with his g-pawn. So I played here. Now the next move was shocking for me. Here I knew it's a draw. And I got excited back in and I was like, this has to be a draw. The reason it's a draw and you don't have the mating ideas anymore, and it's a simple, the next move is very telling, is e5. I'm actually threatening rook check here, so obviously he has to be careful where he moved the rook. I think Nakamura here figured that he was winning by force, like b7, rook c8, and then somehow the king goes here and he may have the opposition. This is like going through his mind, like the calculation thing. But here, apparently, I knew it's a draw because I have the opposition. So, I mean, this is the way to draw king and pawn ending, and obviously here it's easy. He was still trying, but obviously here, given the experience and the speed, I was able to hold, and he forces stalemate. Again, there was mistakes in this game, but mistakes are beyond. You do happen in both chess. He also made a mistake giving up a piece. But the idea is keeping up speed, keeping up the knowledge, keeping up those ideas that your opponent, which happens to be Nakamura, is keeping up. Fascinating stuff. You don't get to play this guy a lot. I feel like this is a huge achievement, even though I did not win. I was up a piece. I did not win. Miserable stuff, but still, again, it's privileged to play him. There's always next games. There's always ways. Hoping for the future. But it's probably better than beating a regular GM to me. Like, this is, to me, a draw here is a big achievement. How he could keep up with somebody like a star like Nakamura like that. It's a big achievement for me. So that being said, this game is great. Great in terms of the results, right? Even the game quality is also pretty good. The next game, actually, let me see if I have it here. So I have it here. This game is, it's the same tournament, in the same tournament. This is Nihal. This guy is also a beast, very strong. I actually Played him before he become like a very strong GM. I played him when he was a GM. But this guy is really strong. Even when you get to play him, he's a little bit of a nightmare because he does play. He does have this style that he defends very nicely. He plays very active chess. He's also very speedy. He does have a lot of qualities when it comes to 1 minute chess, and also like he's a very polite player though. He's very nice. So obviously here e4, I was like maybe we could play c6. I had success with Nakamura. But I actually played this game first before I get to play Nakamura. This game first, and I played the modern. It's like a Caro kind of modern kind of thing. D5. Here, actually, I'm not even sure if this is modern anymore. Usually here you could take or something, but obviously, given the situation, I'm like playing 1 minute chess. Sometimes I'm not paying attention. I figured that maybe this is still good. Yeah, maybe like 92 and instead of knight h3. You could understand why I'm saying that, because c5. When the knight is on e2, is defending on d4. And I figured this may matter. He may still land the knight on f4 in some lines. So here he took, and I was like, this is d4. So I played d4 instantly, because this actually wins a piece. And I was surprised by the take. So here, he played here, and this is piece up. Like, it's simply a piece. He played rook d1, I played queen e5. Pawn takes, queen takes. I may have the worst pawns in the world, but obviously I'm still up a piece. This rook move is pretty good, though, because actually in both chess, you want to play active moves, and you want to put your opponent in a defense situation all the time. So this actually like annoying because it does attack here. You may have to deal with the knight. The rook may actually land on b2 as well, depending on how things are playing out. So here he castled. I played rook b2, knight e4, and take on c2. And here, this is a very important moment for me. I figured that I need to take with the queen fast enough. Not even rook takes. No other move comes to mind. I was preparing queen takes c2. There's two reasons for this. First of all, I'm looking for a possible mate, like rook h2, queen g2. And most importantly is actually, if when he defends the mate somehow, there's a queen f4 idea, which actually defends the mate on h2, right? So I cannot play rook h2 because of queen takes. So the idea of queen takes, queen f4, the reason queen f4 is a big move is actually queen f7 mate, right? Not an easy way to defend it. My idea was e5 the entire time. So how could I get e5? I need to get the queen in so I could cover on f7. I had it in the back of my mind during like this situation before I take on e2 actually. So taking on e2, queen f4, and then it displayed here, or I took first and then e5. So this is actually a big move because now where the queen is gonna go. The queen goes anywhere, you're getting mated. Unless you go to queen d2, then we take. Rook takes. So obviously here, I think he had to do like queen f7 anyway. So here, this is actually easy, even though he took on g2. It's funny that I'm saying that. Maybe it's much easier, and instead of taking on g2, maybe e5. Like maybe e5 right away. This may makes a lot of sense of my rook would not be hanging. So this is not going to be a good move. So it's still here is much more clear to play, much more cleaner, right? Actually, going back here, just to continue. So actually here is queen f7. You can see that he grabs the rook on g2. It's not enough for black. It's not enough, excuse me, for white. Still have plenty of pieces. I have the two bishops here, which the pawns are actually going to be falling weak. So rook here, e6, bishop f6, knight d4. It's a lot easier to play this for black, especially in the bullet chess, because it's just easier to make moves. You also have potential pass pawns. We always tell people if you have pass pawns, you have to push them, and it's a lot easier to do this in a game like that. Obviously, take here, here, here. The good thing about this game is actually he's down on time. It's not me down on time, so the speed-wise is actually I'm speedy here, and that made a difference, of course. So here, h4 takes on a6. Obviously, he's still trying. h3, excuse me, h3. Go back. rook h1, here, here, and I'm starting to lose focus, like knight d5. I mean, I had much better moves. Went back, g4, he takes, and then get the other pawn involved. That's the reason why I'm saying that there's always potential of pawns moving. Not easy what to do. So here I actually allow this, but still winning, I think. Maybe rook h3 is still winning. So he did that, here, 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 here. Again, here I lost focus again, and I... like here the pawn, it feels like the pawn may start moving, but this is still winning. And that's actually allowed the win to become a lot easier. I actually missed king e3, I think. King e3 is much easier because you're looking at mating ideas. Knight g2, knight d3. He's going to check, and then bishop e6 maybe takes here. He eventually gonna lose. You cannot really like hold this position. Eventually, I'm gonna have c6 as a pass pawn, and that's gonna queen. So that's actually didn't happen. I'm actually surrendering queen here, and then obviously he checked. And then I went here, and I'm just looking at the clock at this point. I'm just looking him that he's gonna flag. So probably it doesn't matter which move I do. This is gonna end the game. This is more like a flagging kind of thing. But again, good performance. Again, it's playing Nihal and Nakamura in the same tournament, and it's a positive results between both of them. It's really privileged. Again, it's 1-0. Anything could happen in 1-0. Just because I beat one of them or two of them in 1-0 doesn't mean that you could have a solid score, overall score, especially when it comes to classical. These people have much experience. You could lose a game here and there. Sometimes 1-0 could really get complicated, and some games could be really complex even for strong GMs. So it's a privilege to play those people, actually. Nakamura is a draw. It's a privilege to play him. It's a privilege to play Nihal, and it's good results so far to me. And hopefully you guys enjoy these two games. And stay tuned for the next content. Take care.